The winding vines entwine and climb, pulsating with life's rhythm and rhyme. The giant rock stands steadfast and tall, defying time with its presence. In vibrant hues, wildflowers bloom. Unrestrained, they break the gloom and flourish amidst the wilderness, joining together in a symphony of nature. In front of the rock, blades of grass are bending in the air, creating a rich, multi-layered space. The world falls silent, as if holding its breath. But amidst the stillness, there is a subtle movement, a quiet rustling that stirs in the depths of silence. For in this painting, there's a world of life to reveal. It is the essence of Yandang Mountain and the spring it conceals. Blossoms of Yandang Mountain was created in 1962 by the Chinese painter Pan Tianshou. With its scale, it conveys the majestic atmosphere of Yandang Mountain to the viewer. Back in the 1950s, shortly after the founding of the People's Republic of China, Western oil paintings experienced a surge in popularity due to their realistic style and bright colors. Traditional Chinese paintings, however, were constrained to outdated rules. Featuring repetitive subject matters such as landscapes, the brush and ink techniques that originated from the Ming and Qing dynasties were faced with a grave crisis. Fewer and fewer students were willing to study Chinese painting. While during the same time period, a wave of enthusiasm swept over the nation. The country was bustling with vitality and vigor as various industries flourished and thrived. With the romantic vision inspired by a rejuvenated China, painter and educator Pan Tianshou visited Yandang Mountain, a top 10 Chinese peak, to paint its beauty. Everything was flourishing in the mountains. The wildflowers and grass were growing freely. Huge rocks stood tall and strong among their surroundings. Through the vital force of all creatures and the majesty of nature, he seemed to have seen a new era in high spirits emerging from the mountains. How could Chinese painters maintain the traditions of their art while breaking free from current creative constraints? On this piece of Shuen paper, which is 4 meters long and 1.5 meters wide. Pan Tianshou, then director of Zhejiang Academy of Fine Arts, showed us his answer to this question. His strokes were vigorous, with lines like steel. The brush he wielded was full of force. With colors rich and thick, his art unveiled a unique aesthetic. Wildflowers bursting with life, a vivid depiction of nature's magic. Dots and lines merged, each stroke decisive and bold. The artist was painting a corner of the mountain in spring, as well as a hymn to the beginning of a new era. In blossoms of Yandang Mountain, nature's vitality surges with the people's high hopes for a promising future.
既写雁荡山，它的画的最高妙的地方，不是说我具体的画到了一个什么情节性的绘画，它实际上是在画面里面那种精神气质的一种变化。绘画或者是文艺作品，的确是时代的镌刻者。
With colors that dazzle, yet remain tasteful, the painting casts off its once lonely, distant veil. The majestic rock and vibrant blossoms reveal the spirit of the times, when the nation's morale was high and people were eager to build a better life after the founding of the People's Republic. Pan Tianshou drew from traditional elements of nature's tapestry to present a new aesthetic, one never seen before. It was also the times that instilled in the painter a profound sense of exhilaration, which enabled him to have created a spring that is still blossoming today. In northwestern China's Qinghai province, the Kaidan Basin is covered with heavy snowfall. A forceful north wind cuts across the land. In his youth, Chinese painter Huang Zhou had a chance encounter in this region that inspired an excellent piece of work in the history of modern Chinese art, Going Forward in Snow and Wind. The painting is set between realism and expressionism, capturing the emotion, speed, and even the sound of a particular moment. Coats billow in the strong wind, like sails on a boat going full speed. Sound of the dombra emerges through the blizzard, celebrating people's heroic struggle against the brutal nature. Huang Zhou skillfully blended sketching into Chinese painting, enriching the artistic language of this traditional art form. An 18-year-old Huang Zhou painted the ordinary people on bustling streets. He focused on farmers, traders, old men and women. This poor boy, who never received one day of formal training in art, took off on his artistic journey through observing the life around him. While charcoal is commonly used for sketching, Huang Zhou favored the brush. which offered him better opportunities in capturing motions in fleeting moments. Look at this Uyghur girl, with her skirt twirling in the air, bold and light ink lines, dry and wet shades. Outline the dancer in her most dynamic moment. Huang Zhou created over 40,000 sketches in his life. From joyful dancers to donkey-riding elders and harvesting farmers. Each one highlights his subjects at their best moments. Back in 1954, the world's highest and longest road, the Qinghai-Tibet Highway, officially opened to traffic. As a journalist, Huang Zhou joined a delegation and trekked through the snowy landscape at 40 degrees below zero for 2 straight weeks.
好几天了，一点都没有人烟。唐古拉口这个地方呢，叫做死亡之谷。他们突然听见了驼铃声。
The ringing of bells melted the solitude as he discovered a camel caravan, carrying a group of geological prospectors. As they drew closer, he even heard the happy sound of a dombra, played by the spirited prospectors on camelbacks. Upon his return to Beijing, the blizzard encounter remained vivid in his mind. Huang Zhou sprinkled alum water onto Xuen paper, creating spots where ink couldn't be absorbed. These became snow in the blizzard. From a lowered perspective, the camels assume a majestic stature. With fluid and bold brushwork, Huang Zhou conjured the texture of the wool coats. It's a symbol of the resilience and perseverance of pioneers of the times, a stirring tribute to China's era of momentous change, a hymn to the indomitable spirit of its people. Nearly 70 years later, we can still hear the camel bells ringing in the snowstorm. Footprints in the snow lead us on a journey into the world of Huang Zhou's art. The painting stands as an enduring legacy of the painter himself and his times. It's a pond filled with lotus leaves in dark ink and flowers in vibrant pink. The lines are powerful and sharp, bringing out the vitality and splendor of a summer at its peak. Exuberance of Summer is the work of Chinese artist Li Kuchan, created during his later years. Measuring up to 22 square meters, The painting broke the implicit traditions of Chinese ink and wash with its bold, assertive brushworks. Li Kuchan's lotus flowers are not the delicate and graceful ones we usually see in Chinese landscape paintings. They are instead powerful and even robust, as if flaunting their vitality. This aesthetic style has its origin from ancient carvings on monuments and bronze castings. It is known as the gold and stone style and is held in high esteem by calligraphers and ink wash painters. Inscriptions on gold are mostly full and round, meant to manifest the power and stateliness of the precious metal, while stone inscriptions often have a sharp, chiseled appearance, possessing a cold, decisive quality.
它不是轻轻地划过去的，入木三分，如锥划上，如高山崩石，如这个金蛇入草。
Back in 1923, Li Kuchan was still a young man who scraped a living from pulling rickshaws. He practiced martial arts and studied painting from Qi Baishi, the master of Chinese ink and brush. His given name, Kuchan, means hardship and meditation, and came from the hard life he lived in these early years. In 1937, when China was suffering from deep humiliation from foreign invasions, Li Kuchan turned his studio into a secret contact point for his fellow compatriots. He also used proceeds from selling his paintings to support their cause. The artist himself was once imprisoned and tortured by the enemy. These experiences turned into raw power under his paintbrush and paved the way for the gold and stone style in his artistic creation. These are the origin of the fierce eagles, unbendable bamboos, and imposing stone mountains we find in his paintings. Now we turn to 1981, when two events lifted the spirit of the nation. Gezhouba Dam, China's first domestically built hydropower project, was put into operation, and the Chinese women's volleyball team was crowned world champion for the first time.
这是由衷的高兴。那我就要画张大的，就让全世界看看，让后代们都看看，说只有我大中华文化里才能出这种高级的、高等的大写意。
Li Kuchan was well versed in ink and brush techniques, and didn't need any preliminary sketches or drafts. Looking effortless, he would pick up a sponge, soak up ink, and rub it on paper. A large lotus leaf would emerge in one continuous stroke. He painted the stems with decisive and forceful brushwork, as if he was wielding a sharp engraving knife. The Schwen paper also transformed into bronze or stone.
它是一个群体的刻画，不是一致刻画。这个群体刻画造成这个荷塘满园、盛夏花开这样一个壮丽的景象的时候，来表达他对祖国的欣欣向荣的感怀，是非常真切的。
With the imposing dignity of gold and rocks as bones, Li Kuchan painted a summer lotus pond like no other. It speaks of character, that of the artists, and of the Chinese aesthetics tradition he inherited and adopted.